Warning, it is the opinion of the 4th Street Productions LLC and the Working Perspectives podcast that we should inform you that some of the language used in this recording could possibly be considered offensive. You have been warned, so if you decide to listen to the recording, then don't complain about the language. Hi, hello, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to talk to some real people about some real things, some real lives, doing real stuff. This is the Working Perspectives podcast. I'm Matt Lavelle, coming today by N-Dub's favorite son, J-Dub Justin Richardson, and Easy himself, Eric Zebluim. J-Dub, how you feeling, my man?
Doing great.
You excited for this one?
I am.
You always love having your N-Dub brethren on the show.
It's always fun.
Always fun. Very nice. Well, in case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast, and you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And please, God, it's just all I want for Christmas is my wife to get off my ass about doing this damn show. So if everyone could just like and subscribe, that'd be great. All right, well, this is the Working Perspectives podcast. Let's get this thing started. Let's go.
It's our objective to be effective by voicing societies. Working perspective, exploring your day and how you get paid. Launching a new episode every Tuesday. Your day can transform while we inform with new episodes available on every platform. So check out our vibe and how we get live. Then do us a solid. Share and subscribe. We're just sharing. We're just sharing. We're just sharing. Working perspectives.
All right, Jalen.
Hello.
Let me tell you about this guy. All right. So our guest today is Easy himself, Eric Zebluim. Eric has been on the show previously, but in different facets. He was on the N-Dub Roundtable. So the Roundtable series, episode 1, the N-Dub Saga Part 1, Boroughbreds. He was on the Roundtable series, episode 2, the N-Dub Saga Part 2, Back in the Habit. Right. He's been on, I think, 3 weekend pop-ins, right? 2 or 3. And he's decided to come on as a guest, and we're happy to have him. I mean, dude, I'll tell you, this guy, he's one of those guys, like, we went through school together, kind of like had an adjacent path, never, we're just like kind of cool, like, associates in a way, never too much or too little of really anything. We didn't play the same sports and stuff like that, but we had like mutual friends and things. But he was one of those dudes that he was like the funniest fucking guy in town, right?
The funniest fucking kid. I was like so many times, like just dying and being like, wherever, like he would like get off the bus and like, I just want to go wherever he's going because it's going to be funny.
Yeah. He's one of those guys too, where like he would do stuff, right? Where at first everyone would look at it and be like, what the fuck? And then it would be like the new cool thing going on in school, i.e., and I brought this up before, putting your initials as your laces in your sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Just like small things like that. It's like genius level stuff that everyone's like, dude, this fucking guy. You know what I mean? Smart, funny, but also has like, we're going to come to talk about it. It is crazy because whenever I ran into him in school, right, he was always like in it, like seemingly just to be like a happy-go-lucky guy, just like nothing really bothered him, kind of carefree. But we're going to come to find out that he had some, internal like demons that he was dealing with behind the scenes that I had no idea, you know what I mean? And like no one else did either. So it's pretty cool. Like we're going to get a backstory on him. So I don't want to waste a lot of time chatting. I do want to say this, J-Dub. So before we get to Eric, I do want to tell you this, and we talked about it before, and I was going to keep it a secret, but now I want to blow his ass up. So I was given an email address for a pseudo celebrity, right? Well, we could call him a celebrity, right? And he's a celebrity, right? He's been on TV. He's known by millions, right?
Yeah.
So, I was given the email address and have approached Double J Jeff Jarrett to be on the show, to be a guest on the show, right?
Yeah.
He's currently has his own podcast. It's like the world of with Double J Jeff Jarrett. Actually, I'll tell you exactly what it's called because I've listened to it. So there's this guy's named Conrad Thompson. He's like the wrestling podcast godfather, right?
Okay.
And he's pretty great. But so let's see. My World with Jeff Jarrett podcast is what it's called. So either way, there's like a third party person that my brother Tom knows. He was like a referee in WWE for like a number of years. So he's got like some contacts and things like that.
Yeah.
And apparently Tom had asked him to reach out to Double J Jeff Jarrett to be a guest on the show. And Double J Jeff Jarrett said, hey, give him my email and shoot him an email. I have done so with the subject required in the email. Have not heard a response. So, you know, I mean, Double J might be losing a couple fans. I'm just saying.
I remember he just used to bash people over the head with a guitar.
Dude, yeah. Game changer, that guy. But think
about it. Great move.
He was a 6-time Intercontinental Champion, right? Like, that's pretty nuts.
Good. Yeah.
Like, dude, that's
solid.
pretty. Yeah, dude, Intercontinental title is pretty big. And to be a 6-time Intercontinental champ. Also, he had like major storylines. He's been on like headlined pay-per-views on WCW and WWE. Right, like his grandmom ran a wrestling promotion, his dad ran a wrestling promotion, so he's literally grown up. So my thought was, if we could get him on the show, I would want to go over every job he's had or knows of in the wrestling industry. I think it would be fascinating. But
he's probably done everything. But yeah,
he's had to have done everything. But either way, he hasn't emailed me back, so fuck him. But that's as of our recording date. By the time this airs, he could have been on the show. We don't know.
I will either double down or retract this statement further on.
Yep. But it was nice to see where we are when we air this, if he responds. So there you go. This is where we're at currently. This is the Jeff Jarrett update on the Working Peapod. So there you go. So nice. All right. So like we said, today on the show, we have Easy himself, Eric Zebluim, former guest of the show, friend of the show, NW native, and one of the best guys in town. He's got a great story. And I'll tell you, and I've said this before, and I'll fucking keep screaming it from the rooftops, man. Like, I'll gate, like, our show, right? This just shows me how good this show is. And, like, knock on wood, like, it's good, people think, but I think it's pretty good. And some other people think so, too. But the caliber of guests that we've been able to get on this show thus far, barring the Double J Jeff Jarrett's, because, you know, obviously I'd rather have Easy than Double J any day. But barring that, like, the level of guests we're able to get on the show just keeps getting better and better and better. And me saying that insults every previous guest that we've had on the show. But that's not the case because they've all been great. But, like, you know, I do like it when there's someone that I've always held in high regard and really kind of had liked and stuff like that. And they're willing to come on the show and share their story. So I'm super happy he's here. I'm really thankful that he's agreed to be on the show. Eric, before we get started, I would just like to ask, how do you like your Cheetos, crunchy or puffed?
Oh, man. I didn't know you were going to start off with that. I mean, that's
tough one.
You should have given me a warning.
We try to catch you off guard, baby.
I don't know, man. I think I like the crunchy ones at
God damn right you do. You goddamn right you do. Dude,
know,
J-Dub, no one has said
puffed but me.
No one.
I'm the only person who said puffed.
We've been asking this question for what, 2 months, Justin? Maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I have like destroyed an entire bag of like the Jack's Puff Cheetos, like numerous times.
Though, so my specification was the cheese balls are the best form of cheese byproduct there is.
Right. If you have a choice for going puffed, you're gonna go ball puffed.
Yeah. My puff preference is ball, but
yeah.
What
everyone says crunchy.
What was the brand? I think it was a blue colored. It was like a
Planners.
canister tube.
Planners.
Planners, right?
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
The creme de la creme
Without
of
fail.
cheese ball.
Yeah, the Ferrari of cheese balls.
Yeah, like
Planners.
the early '90s Planners tin.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What else did they have in a tin? Right? I think
They had they had their like almonds, and they all came in that, like, blue, you know, like
the nuts, dude.
cashews.
Cashews. I'll tell you, that changed the game for me. I wasn't a nuts fan for a while. Then I had
Me
some
either.
cashews, and I was like, well, you know what? They got something fucking going here with these things.
Mhm.
All right, these fucking
And the-
cashew
yeah.
things.
And the honey roasted and all that.
Oh,
Roasted.
dude. Did you ever get the, like, I think they're called the Boston nuts or the beer nuts that have like the candy on the outside of the nut?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
They're a good time too. They're
Yeah.
all a good time. Good time to be had by all. But yeah, like we said, crunchy any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Great choice, Eric. Great choice. How are you, man? Thanks for being on.
I'm good. I'm getting ready for the holidays coming up and stuff like that. But
Nice.
happy to be
nice.
on here, hanging out with you guys. Yeah.
Hey man, dude, by the time this airs, the holidays would have happened. But
Oh.
you're a veteran of the show by now, huh? This is what, your fifth, sixth appearance on the show?
Yeah, I think like 5th or 6th time on.
Yeah, you did both roundtables and dude, breakout performances in both roundtables. So much is so that you were brought up to be on the Weekend Pop-In. Then we asked you to come on the Pop-In. You nail it then, right? So yeah, I mean, super excited and glad to have you on because you do have an interesting story. Everyone has a lot to, you know, there's been people that have dropped your name a couple times as far as like being a guest on the show, like as like, dude, he'd be a great guest or a good guest. And I was like, hey, well, I know, let's get him. So finally, guy, we can get that done. I want to get this started because we have a lot of shit we're going to get into and I really want to dig deep into it. So, so you were born and raised, or you were born in the North Bend Hospital. You were raised in Hatfield, Lansdale, North Wales area, right? You moved around a little bit. For school, you did public school K through 12, and then you did a little bit of community college afterwards, stuff like that. You've been doing sports your whole life. As we said before on some other shows, that your mom was a gymnastics teacher,
Yeah.
right? And so you've been doing gymnastics since like the age of 4, right? And like, I didn't know, like, I mean, you know, and like, I guess athleticism just runs in your family. Was your sister an athlete too?
Yeah, she was pretty athletic too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she did gymnastics when she was younger. And then I think she did like field hockey and lacrosse in high school.
Yeah, and J-Dub had a crush on her back in the day, you know.
Sure did.
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Shout out.
And by the way, the Zebluim children, some of the fastest human beings I've ever seen in real
Dude,
life. Yo.
I will say that as
I like-
well.
Bonkers, Joe. I think I met Bark on the squat, like Saul. We weren't even the same weight, but Saul Bark playing Squires football and being like, that's the fastest fucking kid I've ever seen in my life.
When you so this is something I did want to get in front of. So when you say Bark, you mean Eric. That's Eric's end
Yeah.
of his end of name, we'll say, is Bark. Can we get a little backstory on how you got the name Bark, or was it just one of those things like Liam made up one day and everyone stuck with it?
No, yeah, no, I can give you the story. And I played Cannoneers 1 year.
Fuck yeah,
I
Cannoneers.
played Cannoneers 1 year.
Fucking
And I was like horribly sick with bronchitis for
Ooh.
like a majority of the season.
Ooh, I had
Um,
whooping cough 1 year playing Cannoneers football.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, actually worked out well because I had to lose weight to play football because it was weighted ball. So
Right.
all through like the first like 3 weeks of summer training, I had whooping cough and lost a ton of weight and it was great. So shout out whooping cough.
Shout out
Thanks.
whooping cough.
Shout out whooping cough.
Whooping.
So nice. All right. So what do
Yeah,
you got?
so the
going?
nickname Bark, also pronounced Bark like that. And it really is. You got to spell it with 3 R's.
Yeah.
But that name, so when I came back into North Wales and I started hanging out with like my guys and everything in like 3rd grade, as we progressed into like middle school, my friends noticed that apparently my siblings, they said that they instead of calling me Eric, they called me Ark like that. So it just became this thing. It was like Ark, like, oh, yo, Ark, like this over exaggerant, like bidding on your friends type of thing that progressed. And then one night we were hanging out at 8th and Church, and Liam Reese had this
Shout out
tree.
Liam.
Shout out Liam. He had this tree on the corner of 8th and Church out front of his house
Yeah.
with like a swing rope. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a smaller tree too, right? It wasn't
it wasn't like
huge
huge or anything like that, but it was like a decent sized tree.
Okay.
And he had the rope there. And one night we were all hanging out, goofing around, and I was like joking around on that rope, like swinging around, doing crazy stunts. Just we were just killing time, and I'm just bullshitting on this rope. And it became this thing like bark instead of arc, like bark on a tree. And it just stuck. And then
Bark.
that's just like developed into my nickname. And then, of course, in North Wales, we all have like nicknames and stuff like that. So I would be walking down the street and I would just like, bark, like,
bro, that's legit been your nickname for like 15 years, though.
Yeah, at least, yeah. I mean, that was probably we probably like 13 or 14, no, probably about 14.
Dude,
so yeah,
that's even longer. That's like 20 something years.
It's probably like middle school or something like that. I don't know.
Dude,
I feel like probably like middle school.
So wait, so like your brothers and sisters would call you, instead of calling you Eric, they call you Ark.
Allegedly. I don't know. I always heard like my name because I grew up with my siblings, so I don't necessarily, I'm not able to really distinguish.
Yeah. Right. I know exactly how to say it. Yo, Ark, get over here. Yeah. So your siblings would mispronounce your name, and then your brother, they would make fun of you, and then you're playing on a tree, and instead of calling you Tree Ark, it was Tree Bark, and then it just shortened to Bark kind of thing.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the progression of how it happened. But you know, it's just like we all have nicknames for each other, like, and that's just like that's how it came to fruition.
Yep.
We were just like we were just joking around. They're like Ark, and then the tree, and then I mean, that's been like my screen name. I mean, all the like Zanga name, and
everything.
MySpace.com/bar. You know, like all of my stuff. Yeah.
Yo, I remember your MySpace photo. It was like totally like fucking deep thinking, you looking down like train tracks with like what you're looking like your body's facing one way and your head's looking back, like
I was looking back
over my shoulder down the train tracks, looking down, you know.
Yeah, man.
That was MySpace. You had to get real on MySpace. What are you gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
Dude,
yeah, that's a good picture.
It's funny. Like we had the end of so the Roundtable series, episode 3, the End of Saga, part 3, the New Generation aired, and on that show we had a young Bradley Richardson who would say the same thing, where his nickname was Young Bradley or something along those lines. Young Bradley. And he said too, like he would be walking down the street and it would be the same thing of Young Bradley or something like that would be yelled at him while he's walking. And J-Dub, how did you get your nickname? Because you've been J-Dub or Jalen Dub.
There was a kid even where the nickname would made way more sense for whose real name was like Josh the Bullet. You know what I mean? Like he should have been J-Dub. That makes way more sense.
There's also like someone with a J with a W as their last name as well, right?
Would make way more sense. My last name is with R. One day, so Steve Park, who eventually became Perk,
Perk
and then became went from Perk
no good reason.
Perk like Perk Oxy.
No, just like Ockleberry, and then I became J-Dub, and he started calling me J-Dub Anundis.
J-Dub Anundis?
Yeah.
Close to Andy Banandi.
Andy Banandi. Shout out Roundtable episode 1, part 1.
There's so many stupid fucking nicknames, yo. Scream. Skivit. Papa Skivit. Then he started wearing a Papa Johnson, became Papa Skivit.
Dude, I fucking lost it the first time Liam called Trav Scribbit. I fucking died. That was the funniest thing. Dude, Liam's like the nickname fucking capital the Cuyahoga there. That guy. He can give a nickname to everybody. I've said it on the show. It's called, he called me Lashmishma was what his nickname for me. But yeah, Scream him. And then you guys had talked about Chad. He had a bunch of different nicknames, or Chaz, sorry. Yeah, Chaz had a bunch of different nicknames as well, right?
Sea Swizzle. I always liked that one.
Yep.
Didn't you call him
Tom
Chuck
Epp.
Mo D?
Yeah.
Chuck Modi, C Swizzle,
Who's Tom Epp?
Tommy
Tommy?
Romeo,
Yeah.
Tommy,
Tomato.
former guest of the show, friend of the show. Tommy Epp.
Tom
Tomato.
Epp. He's literally in my phone as Tom Epp, like THOMEPP.
Tom Epp.
I have all these nicknames in my phone. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that must be
That's
crazy.
so. The one time I'm at Graham's Pub, shout out Graham's Pub, and
Land of the free, home of the brave.
your brother serves me and then leaves because his shift's over. So I go to pay my tab, and I'm like, can I pay my tab? She's like, what's it under? I'm like, Justin. She's like, no. I was like, my last name? She's like, no. I was like, she's like, are you J-Dub? I was like, yeah, that's me. I was like, my tab, please. I was with my girlfriend for the first time. She looked at me. She's like, who's J-Dub? I was like, I'm J-Dub. I'll
Yeah.
explain more later.
Yeah. You'll come to know me. Jalen Dub. Yeah.
Awesome.
Dude, that was back. I mean, dude, I've been calling you J-Dub for forever. I don't know.
No one's ever called me Justin.
I used to call you Juddy for a while, but that didn't stick around.
My
wasn't
girlfriend's
good.
sister calls me that. I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Juddy.
Yeah, no one does. Shout out your girlfriend's sister. Apparently, she's too good looking to date Steve. So good for her. Good for her.
Smart.
Yeah. Oh, and good looking and smart. Yeah. She doesn't want to win salsa Tinder. Let me tell you. So nice. All right. So let's keep it moving. So like we said, you were born in North Bend Hospital, grew up in, Lansdale, North Wales, Hatfield area, right? Did the public school K through 12. But I want to talk about your sports stuff. So like we had said, your mom still runs to this day a gymnastics studio, right? And we're going to shout it out. Can you shout it out real quick? We'll have a link to it in the description.
Yeah, it's Jump and Joy Gymnastics. And
Jump and Joy Gymnastics.
she runs it out of the Schwenkfelder Church over by Merrimead.
Nice. Yeah. So Jump and Joy Gymnastics. I mean, shout out. Got a bunch of great reviews. Honestly, when my daughter's old enough, I definitely want to get her involved in that. So yeah, but you've been doing gymnastics since age 4. God, you played football for, you did it as a little bit of kid and got back to it in high school. You did you did track, you know what I mean? You did a little bit of, baseball kind of stuff, some basketball around here, soccer as a kid, stuff like that. But I want to get started gymnastics. So you started when you were 4. Your mom was teaching it. How did you like gymnastics?
I didn't really know anything else. And like when I say I did gymnastics, it wasn't like I took children's classes because my mom specializes in with like very young kids gymnastics.
Yeah.
So it's very fun and they're not doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
But it was my life. Like I wasn't going to, what do they call them, gymnastics meets or anything like that. Like I wasn't competing. I was just around it, living it. But I enjoyed it, man, because like they would have, it was Turner's Gymnastics, which was, I forget what the road was. I think it was like maybe Germantown Pike or something like that, over by Woody's golf course.
Okay. I know.
And so yeah, we would be there and there would be like summer gymnastics camps and stuff. So we would play dodgeball, we would do different stuff like that. And I didn't mind it. It was great. I mean, I enjoyed it, and it also gave me a very solid foundation for sports for the rest of my life. Because of just balance and stuff like that, like core muscle strength, everything moving forward came pretty naturally. Once I grasped the sport, I was able to excel pretty easily.
Yeah. From what everyone says, especially for young kids, especially for young women, apparently gymnastics is like the gimmick, like gets you in good shape, but also like it teaches you to be fearless, like, dude, there could be some fucking Navy SEALs running around that are too scared to do a backflip. You know what I'm saying? Like, also, like, as a kid, you're basically running around in a padded room all day, right? Like, come on, is there anything fucking better than that? You're just jumping up and down on stuff, like going nuts. Like, I mean, that's pretty fun. Right? Like as a kid, I'll tell you, someone who's kind of like devilishly deceiving good at gymnastics, one Party Boy Pete McCormick. His ass couldn't do a one-handed cartwheel. Believe it. I've seen it. It's like, it's almost like, it's like something to behold. It's like art. really. I saw him do it one time in a trench coat into Graham's Pub. Shout out Graham's Pub, land of freedom of the brave. So, all right, J-Dub, your thoughts? Gymnastics? Anything?
Well, love it. Great
Yeah.
footwork, good coordination, good balance. Balance is so important.
Yeah. Shout out Carrie Strug.
Yeah, she was a real hero to mine.
Yeah.
1993,
96.
92, 96.
96. Yeah, Atlanta, 96. Get it right, you son of a bitch.
She got carried off.
Yeah. Carrie Strug got carried off. Yeah. Then she had her brother is the biggest noodle ever. It was on, they did like an interview. I think it was like Leno or something. And the brother's like, I was just sitting there saying a prayer that she didn't get hurt. And then she landed it. And it was the most incredible thing. Yeah. It was like, come on. Go Strudafall, you Strunza. So either way, let's keep it moving. So after gymnastics, right, you would do, so this is something, and I kind of got in this gimmick too. Like I played soccer, like when I was born in California and I lived there until I was 7 years old. And you're not playing soccer in California. Tell you that right now. Right now. Everybody's playing soccer in California. Big, big guess why, I don't know, but everyone plays soccer over there. So I was playing soccer. Football really wasn't in like the rear view, like wasn't in the peripheral, and then moved here when I was 7, and no one gives a fuck about soccer over here. It's only football that people care about. And so I still played soccer, but I always got like kind of like the gimmick from my friends of like, oh, you play soccer, you don't play football like a man, and I was like, yeah, you're right, I don't. And my dad didn't let us play for a while, but then like Kevin Tommy Byers' mom, shout out Mrs. Byers, told my dad he was a wimp for not letting us play football, and he signed us up the next day. So this goes to show you. But
taking that.
Yep. So either way, so Eric, you kind of had the same path where you did soccer, right? And then like you were like, and also like I was playing backyard football like all the time, and it was like, dude, pickup football games might be the best thing ever that was ever been ever. But so you kind of have the same thing where it's like you did soccer and then you were playing like football in the backyard, and everyone's like, dude, you should play kind of thing. And then you ended up playing. Is that kind of how it went?
Yeah. So I actually started off. So another part of my early sports activities was the Boys and Girls Club in Lansdale. It was a huge part of my life. My mom worked there for a period of her life. I think she actually ran her business out of there for a period of her life. So I was there a lot. Yeah. And I was there a lot, and they had their soccer league or whatever, like the North Penn Valley Boys and Girls Club Soccer League. And one of my childhood best friends, as I mentioned before, was Patrick Duddy. I mean, since we were extremely young. And so his dad was actually my coach, who became the head coach at North Penn. Yeah. And and I played soccer. My middle name is Scott. I'm named after my uncle, who actually died in a car accident. And he was really, really good at soccer. Like he was legit, like really good. And so, I played soccer, and then exactly what you said happened when we moved quite a bit, and we went from North Wales over to Hatfield. And my family was very close to the Ball family. So Jeff and Greg Ball, Andrew Carley. And then also across the street from them was the Chivarellis. So you have CO, Mike Chivarelli.
Shout out Jeff Ball. Good dude.
Yeah. Awesome guy.
So you're friends with the Civarellis and the Balls, and you're hanging out there, and they're a football families, right?
And then Kevin too. So it's like I got Kevin, my brother. I got CO, Mike Chivarelli, Anthony Chivarelli, Jeff, Greg Ball, like big time. They're doing like punt, pass, and kick at Veterans Stadium when we're younger. Like I went down there with them, and they're like winning. I'm like, So these are like my core group of friends down in Hatfield, and we would always be at the Balls' house. They had a pool. And the 1 year so they knew I was really fast. They played backyard football with me, but I didn't have like a killer instinct by any means. It just wasn't in me at a young age. Yeah. And so they're like, you got to play football. And so I went to play at Cannoneers the 1 year. I remember I got destroyed. They like, I had Sam Tarlow on my team.
Oh, shout out Tarlow.
Legend. Like a lights out legend.
Dude, he might be the best kid athlete ever. He was unreal as a kid athlete. Everyone has that athlete when we're all like 10, 11 before we start hitting like the growth spurts and stuff. Yeah. Who's like the best athlete ever. Tarlo was legit like the best kid athlete ever. Dude, I played with him. I would later play with him later. And he was like, talk about like the fastest fucking dude. And like, you're pretty fucking fast, Eric. Were you Tarlo fast back then?
I probably was.
Yeah. But he
if
was
not
like
faster. But the problem was like Sam had like a killer instinct. Like I think
Yeah.
Brandon Hill was also on my team.
Yeah.
These kids already got it. Like they've
Yeah.
already been like Brandon grew up wrestling. Like they
Yeah.
were not afraid.
Brandon
to,
was like
get in
needed to get
another
his hit.
kid's-
Yeah. He wanted to
Yeah,
hurt people.
Brandon's like, I got Brandon's
He's like, I gotta get my
ready
fix
to
in. If
go.
I don't hurt someone, I'm fucking killing everybody right now. You know.
I was insanely timid, like a very timid person. Like,
But
you know,
dude, everyone's like that at that age. Don't like. There's few kids that aren't, right? And those are like, you know, I mean, we all see Brandon. I mean, come on, you know.
Brandon's another level, but it's like Brandon, Sam, Jeff Ball, you know, like these people have been like groomed to play Pop Warner football. They're like legends.
Yeah.
And
but they started a lot younger. Yeah.
So like I remember being put up against these guys in like one-on-one drills and just getting destroyed. I was like, what is this? Like I don't understand what this combative nature is. You know, I was getting destroyed. And that after one practice, Jeff was like, yo, race Sam. But again, I don't have like a killer instinct at this time in my life. I'm not like, oh, it's me versus like a competitive nature like that, like one-on-one situation. So we like ran, but I remember thinking like, I'm not even running because I feel like he already won because this guy seems like he
like mentally like, it was you mentally
I was
beat
defeated,
yourself.
Dude. It was crazy. It was
you mentally defeated yourself. That happens, dude. Plus two, like football is such like a thing people talk about and are like, it's very much like, you know, like you become obsessed with it when you're playing it. You know what I mean? Like it's like everything. You know, so it is something like it can be intimidating, especially when you're there first. Like coaches, dude, like I know wrestling coaches don't hold back, but football coaches didn't hold back then either. You know what I mean? Like they were letting you know, like you hit like a pussy. Like you.
Yeah, I don't think they should too. I don't think they should. It was very healthy. Like for instance, now.
You don't think they should have told you like you got like don't be such a pussy, hit him back?
I think it's healthy. I
agree. I think they need to tell you that shit.
Maybe the wording could be a little, you know, but like, I think it's okay to like take a young man and be like, there. Yo, like this is like go. And I think that like some of the combative, like I look back on some of the things and I think to myself, like, I think it was very healthy that some people had those one-on-one interactions, the competitive stuff. As a young man growing up, I think it's healthy.
Agreed. I was so timid and I was just thrown in the water. I was on Jay's team and I never played football before.
When you say Jay, you mean Jay Romeo?
Yeah, Tom's older brother. So you know how you would line up for the Oklahoma drill and you'd be ball carrier and tackler. Yeah. I got in line and I watched I looked like who I'd be up against in the other line and I watched Jay count and then switch spots with whoever it was so he could go up against me. And I was on vacation. I never played tackle football before. So I was on vacation the first week I showed up. So this is right when they started hitting. I've never hit anyone, never been in pads before. And he just murders me. And then when we get back in line, I see him do it again. And so I just got thrown into the fire with football. And it wasn't until I didn't know what I was doing. And then I made like one good play and you would rewatch the game tape up in the Squires building, like in that upstairs part. Yeah. And I like any good hits, Freiling's dad would like point him out and be like, who was that? Yeah. And I finally like made one good, he was like, who's that? Is that Richardson? And like, I was like, okay, I get it. I can do that. I can do that every week.
Yeah. No, dude. But that's the kind of guy, like guys like Mr. Freiling, Mr. Hill, right? Like Del Ciato was our coach, right? Coach Del Ciato, right? Like those guys, they are like, and I had another coach, Coach Chuck. They were all like really, really good coaches, but they know like, look, this isn't like this, like they want to bring out the masculinity and the competitiveness and things like that. And it is like for young men, it is such a must, right? Like it is such a must. Like, look, they're not telling you to hurt people weaker than you. They're telling you like, look, this person's going to try and hurt you. You need to defend yourself.
If you're scared, you're going to get hurt.
Everyone's scared, right? Yeah. Like you need to get over it. You need to face your fears. And you need to hit back. Like those are lessons that you need to learn. And I think like
one way.
I agree. It's only one way to do it. And like, you should be like, everyone needs to get hit. Like you need it, right? Like you need to know, like for your self-confidence that you're not made of glass. We do it like in boxing. It's a must. Like you have to get hit. Right. Like even for like sometimes like I'll be like fighting and like I won't even wake up until I get hit. And I'm like, oh, all right, we're doing this now. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's something I think that's very healthy. And I agree with you. That's something that, like, as far as coaches, they did, like Mr. Hill, Mr. Freiling, they did a great job. And it instills pride in like the being, you know, in the aggression, where it's like using aggression in a good way, in a competitive way. It's not a bad thing. And you like, you know, and it instills pride and like a competitiveness and a camaraderie. So that kind of stuff I think is incredible as well. And that's one of the things, you know, I fucking love about football. But so let's keep it going. So you played football that 1 year, and we'll come back to you. You played that a little bit later, right? But didn't you play baseball too? Weren't you like a baseball player as well?
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about with the coaching. So when I was like
Okay.
young, I think I played at maybe like Lansdale a tiny bit, but I think it was so what, like third, fourth, fifth, sixth grade, I was in Hatfield, and I had the absolute privilege of playing with some lights out ballers over there.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
have a
like
great program. They had, at least. I don't know if they do anymore, but they had a great program in Hatfield.
when I was like 10, 11, 12, and when Kevin, who's 1 year older than me, was like 10, 11, 12, we had so much talent over there. It
Yeah.
was ridiculous. And I loved it. It was cool, you know, like
Wouldn't they
it
end
was,
up winning a state title as well?
what do you mean with like North Penn?
No, I know Hatfield won a state title when I was in like 7th grade, I believe they won. And I, you know, something
I don't
along those
know.
lines.
We won all kinds of tournaments, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate we didn't try to get into the Little League World Series, because like we had the type of talent where like we could actually pull like a right fielder, a left fielder, a second baseman, and they would be like a lights out pitcher. So any player on the field could step in the pitch and pitch like extremely well.
Yeah.
So I mean, there was like Jason Mills, Justin Klinger, Tim Durstein, Dan Jaycox, Pat McCourt, Josh
Yeah.
Fink, who was amazing shortstop. We had so much
Yeah.
talent. It was crazy. And when I went, so in like sixth grade, I went back to North Wales, and I went to Pembroke. And when I was at Pembroke, the level of talent dropped off so drastically that I had coaches actually telling me, like, you're throwing the ball too hard, which I couldn't understand because I've been
Wow.
trained since the age of 9, 10, 11. Like, we're
To
throwing it
fucking
hard,
wing
we're
it,
turning
yeah.
double, like
Yeah.
everything. We're
Yeah.
coached up big time. And I lost the passion for the game. So
Yeah.
over in Pembroke, like it was kind of like more so a joke. One of our
Yeah.
baseball coaches was Mr. Crawl. J-Dub, you remember Mr. Crawl? He was an English teacher. Yo, we legitimately would like wrestle and beat this guy up and put ice down his shirt. Like it was just a joke. Like baseball was just a joke. And
Yeah.
by the time we went to high school, I had lost interest in it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, man, like I don't need, like, I'm not playing baseball anymore. I think there was one person from Pembroke in our class, 2003. I think it was Walter Albright,
Yeah.
who actually tried out for North Penn
Yeah.
and made the team. But I
Yeah.
think that was the only one.
He's a fan of the show, listener to the show. Shout out Wally Spots, Wild Albright.
Oh, fucking ho.
So for
motherfuckers.
those of you listening, Strong Stem Steve Cabot has just joined the broadcast. Strong Stem, how are you, sir?
Chilling. What's up, Bart? What's up, Dub?
What's
up,
going
yeah?
on, man?
It's funny you mentioned that because I have a question for you, Strong Stem. So
Sure.
we discussed previously on the show that how Eric got his nickname. We then discussed how J-Dub got his nickname. How did you get the nickname Steubens?
So Chaz again comes up. So Chuck Modee used to call me Stavin, right? This is when we were in like elementary school. You call me Stavin all the time, right?
Stavin?
And then Stavin. And then
Okay.
the one night we were in like, I don't know, like 7th grade, and we were over at a friend's house, and there were some of the older guys from the neighborhood, like Russ and Romero and these other guys there. And they were all fucked up. And they were like, the fuck did they call you? Fucking Steubens? And we started dying. And they were like, what the fuck is Steubens? And they were dying. Like, it just stuck from there on out. They were like, that's it. That's your new name. You're Steubens.
Yeah, dude, that's, I mean, yeah, not a bad one. Would he be like, how would he say Stavin? Would he just say Stavin? Would be like Stavin?
Yeah. Like kind of like guys in the hood do when it's all clear. They say Davien. They'd be like, Davien. Same thing. Starving.
Oh, like
He yelled at
bien,
me all the
like,
time.
like that's good. Like stop.
Yeah,
in
like
Spanish?
there's no cops.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's no cops.
Está bien, muy
Está
bien.
Da
Está
bien,
bien.
da
Está
bien.
bien,
bien.
güey, muy buen, güey.
And
Me
then when the
gustan los
cops
culos
come,
de
you hear-
grandes y no puede mentir,
And then of course
güey.
when the cops pull up, you hear bajando.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Some people might not get that reference.
I
Or
do.
what is that? Gringo.
Yeah. But it was one of those where, North Wales, I mean, especially in the borough, if you didn't have a nickname, I mean, it's almost like guys didn't like you or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Seems
It was
like
just something
something
that had
it
to happen.
was, seems like something it was earned around there for sure, which is good. I mean, that's what
For sure.
that's also part of the camaraderie. So nice. So, okay. So let's keep it going. So like we said, and I agree with you, Eric, where if you play baseball on a shitty team, it's really easy to lose the passion for the game. When you're playing on a shitty team, it's like dick fuck dead July, right? It's hotter than shit. You're losing like 20-0 in the third inning. Yeah, that sucks. And
when your coach sucks, that always sucks. A
Yeah.
shitty coach makes it way worse.
Yeah, we were just talking. Go ahead, Eric. Go.
Then like I loved playing baseball at Pembroke. Like we had a ton of fun. The difference was the level of like pushing myself. Like it was so easy to like just do stuff at Pembroke with the baseball stuff. I just stopped. Nobody was really pushing me to get better. There was no like competition. Like when I was in Hatfield, it was like, I had Dan J. Cox, Tim Durstein, Pat McCourt, lights out pitchers. Like they were on a whole different level.
Yeah.
And then like I had to like compete with them to get like pitching time, and there was a bunch of other people who could also pitch. Like the level of talent over there, it's like you had to be on your game. But yeah, I went to Pembroke and it was such a huge drop off, man. And just what makes it fun for me is like getting better and pushing myself and like that competitive, like we're going to the championship. Like we got to beat this team. Like who's the best person at Pembroke? There was none of that. We were getting blown out.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That sucks. Dude, I do remember this in middle school. Cause like in the middle schools, there is like a rivalry of like, cause there's 3 middle schools in the area. There's Pendale, which is the Lansdale one. There's Pembroke, which is the North Wales one. And then there's Penfield, which is the Hatfield one. Right. Yep. So if you're in Lansdale, you go to Pendale. Right. And I went to Pendale, and I remember when we were in 9th grade, the Penfield baseball team was like the best. They like didn't lose, right? Like they were undefeated. They were killer. And they were playing like the 9th grade team was playing from Penfield was playing the 9th grade team from Pendale. Right. And it was like, and I remember Alan Bach, friend of the show, listener of the show, he was on the Pendale team, and they were like fucking super hyped. Like just like they had lost a couple, like, but their whole thing was like, we want to beat these fuckers, and they ended up winning and beating Penfield in the baseball game. And it was like a huge thing. And I remember one of the kids on the team the next day in school, he had made a shirt that said like baseball glove, $25, baseball bat, $100, baseball cleats, $65. Seeing Dan J. Cox cry after losing, priceless.
Yo, shout out to that young bull.
Did Dan pitch?
You wouldn't want me to shout.
Yeah, true.
Did Dan pitch?
Did Dan pitch is the real question.
I think
they were
so.
They were winning.
Really?
I think he might have, because I remember whoever did pitch. I remember Bach saying that he roped one back and he hit the kid in the leg. Whoever was pitching, I think
Dan was a really good pitcher.
Oh, dude, he broke at the St. Stan's Fair. He broke the pitching machine, like the speed thing. Awesome. In like 8th grade, he's breaking this thing.
Crazy.
Which
crazy how good that little town was.
Right? Like
that little town had and they had pitchers specifically, like
with
Jay Cox and Klinger and Mills. You're talking about guys that were
Mills,
studs in Division I, not just like played at the Division I. We're studs at the next level.
Oh yeah, big time baseball players.
Baseball is probably one of my best sports too. Yeah. So like when we talk about sports, like I was equipped to do all of that. I was a little shorter than Kevin and Al. Like my brothers are like 6'2". I'm 5'9".
I would agree.
So the strike zone's smaller. I'm quicker, lower to the ground.
Were you a bunt? Like you could bunt and beat it out and stuff?
I hated bunting. No, I would just get a grounder to anywhere in the infield and beat it out.
Oh,
wow.
That's one thing. That's
Park
one
got
thing.
speed.
one thing that like there was no competition except for against myself. So that was one area where like Justin Woody played football. He played baseball with me when I was younger, and he saw me play football at high school. So he knows like how fast I am. But again, that killer instinct wasn't there to translate onto the football field. And I joked around a lot with football. I wasn't comfortable with it. In baseball, it's me versus me. It's me versus like the ball going there. And I'm like, you're not throwing me out.
Yeah.
So I baseball was definitely, I mean, I had a lot of potential in baseball.
Yeah.
And stealing bases. It was,
Yes.
I literally had the green light on every team I ever played. The coach would just be like, they want to give me food or nothing. Like, do whatever you want to do. And I did.
Nice.
I think I got thrown out like 3 times.
Nice.
That was my thing.
Nice.
Bases.
Yeah. Dude, all you had to do was get on, and you just make contact, you get on, and you're good, right?
Yeah, everything else was a wrap. I remember how excited I was once we could steal home. And I would do stuff like I was the guy that would like the pitcher would throw it no matter where it would go. I'd be on first base. I would just walk out to second base. Like, what are you going to do with this ball right now?
Yeah.
You know, and then they would have to make a decision. They would get frozen like a deer in headlights. And I was doing all kinds of stuff like when I was young. And like they would be like, you know, we're up by 12, take it easy, you know, blowing people out. They're like, Eric, chill. But
dude, I'll tell you, I don't know what it is, man. Like my arm, I can't throw. Like, I mean, I can throw, but like it's just so much pain. I don't know what it is. I was like a catcher. I never had a good arm. It was okay. But then like you get to like a certain age, because I remember like because Alan Bach played for the high school team, and we would go watch his game. And even then, like I'm watching these guys throw, I'm like, how the fuck can anyone throw it? And they weren't even like, they were throwing it really fast for me. But as far as like, you know, as far as like the top echelon guys, they're not throwing it that fast. But these guys are fucking cooking the ball in there. And like, dude, playing catcher and zinging a guy who took a big lead at first base from catcher, to have an arm like that, like that's, to me, I'm like, that's fucking incredible, right?
Did you
like,
say you have an arm, Matt? You said you have an arm?
Oh, no, not like barely. I
was going to say, because if you did, then if I combined you with J-Dub, we might be, we could figure something out, because I had the gift of watching J-Dub do work in a
batting cage
pitching machine, in a batting cage.
With terrible batter.
I'm going to be honest. Yeah. J-Dub got a big frame, but it's not for baseball. It's not for baseball.
It never was.
Were you trying to set up a one-on-one competition?
No, I was about to make one baseball player out of both of them, but now it kind of went the opposite direction, which is more interesting. If Matt can't throw,
I got
he
a
can't
cannon
hit.
for an
It's
arm.
a battle. Hell yeah, J-Dub.
Matt, you should pitch to J-Dub.
Yo.
Kevin, my brother has an athletic facility with
let's set it up.
Even like throwing a football, like I'm trying, like, dude, like I'm like trying to work boxing into it, where like I'm turning my whole back foot, my arm, and I'm just like trying to throw it, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, like it hurts so much. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe I'm throwing with the wrong arm. This is fucking killing me.
How do you know he doesn't know what he's doing? A punch is nowhere near the same motion as throwing a baseball, so that has to look fantastic when you're punch throwing.
Bro, and I'm like all the way back here doing it. I'm like, all right, let's go. And it's a nightmare. And then it goes like 20 yards. I'm like, I fucking threw that as hard as I could. Yeah, I don't know how you fucking, I don't know. Yeah, not for, I mean, hey, more power to you. But either way, but no, baseball, like, dude, back in the day when like if you're on a good team and like having fun, baseball is the shit. Especially
so much
like
fun.
Back when like the Sandlot days and the Bad News Bears, like you're watching all these movies and like I'm just like, it just gets you so jazzed up to play. You know, everyone wants to be Kelly Leak. So anyway, let's keep it moving. So you did some track and then you would get back into football, right? So what were you doing with track, Eric?
I didn't do track.
Smoking cats.
I didn't do track until I got to high school. And and by that time I had, you know, like by that time I was so unfocused with anything school oriented that I never really gave any sports a chance in high school. By the time I was there, I was distracted. I got steered off course from what I probably should have been doing in life, so to speak. And I did a little bit of track there, but you know, I was ineligible a lot. I told you the story when we were talking the other day about how at one point they were trying to get me eligible because I could throw shot put or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like the second or third best, but like we need you for points. I was like, what?
Like shot put? This
I was
guy?
like, what? But yeah, I did a
Shout out
little
to the
bit
coach
of
for seeing that in you, being like, our team is so good. All we need to do to win states is find a guy athletic that can throw a heavy fucking ball. There he is. Hey,
There
you.
he is.
What are
Yeah,
you
5'9",
doing?
160. You know, I was like 5'7".
How far can you throw a rock? Yeah.
Pretty
Dude,
far.
I wish they had hammer and discus throw in high school because I would have fucking loved
Did they not have
it.
that? They don't have that?
I don't like, dude.
Do they have javelin in high school?
Like,
I don't even know- I don't-
that's what I'm
they
saying.
do?
Like, if they had javelin, hammer throw, and discus, I would have been all over that.
I thought
Especially
they had
hammer
javelin.
throw. Hammer throw is so fucking
Hold up.
gangster.
Listen, I ain't winning hammer throw at all, but I'll win the hammer pull if you understand where I'm going with it.
Yeah, 4-time
Fucking
champ of the
state
hammer
champ.
pole over here. Fucking A.
Oh,
Fucking
fuck.
returning champ over here. Fucking A. No, okay. So then let's get into it. So you get done middle school, you get to high school. So we will say this, and I guess, dude, I don't know why. Like, I knew your brother was a good football player. I didn't know he was the fucking like best football player ever. Because like when he was playing, I thought Aikens was like the star then, but it was your brother who was the star.
Kevin Akins was young.
Yeah.
He
But
was still young when Kevin was doing his thing. I think Kevin Akins was a sophomore when Kevin when my
your
brother was doing his thing. So our sophomore year, Kevin was a junior.
Yeah.
And he was the starting like wing back. So you play running back, wide receiver,
Okay.
and stuff like that.
And
And
you
then-
guys made
and
it deep into
senior
the I think you guys made it to the quarterfinals.
Final four your year.
Yeah, well,
Final
so-
four your year.
Our
like-
year, we made it to the like I think it was the final four. We were against Parkland for like
Yeah.
I guess
Yep.
what would have been the eastern half of the state.
Was that
Yes.
our senior year or
That
our
was our
senior
senior
year.
year. Yeah, that
but
was.
then
our
what
senior
about
year.
the year before that? Didn't you guys go deep the year before that as well?
No, they were projected to be so some
Number one
polls,
ranked in the state.
Some polls had them ranked. I think number one in the
Yes.
in the
Beginning of my
nation.
senior year, they were number one in the state for sure.
No, I
Helicopters
thought it was
over.
the nation.
They made that documentary.
I think it was.
No.
That was
Oh.
99. That was
Yeah,
99.
that was
we went down-
2002 with Kevin and all them. They were ranked number one in the state in Pennsylvania. It was like the flat. Yeah. They thought they were going to.
But I
for
think
sure.
they were up there in the nation.
They
maybe.
definitely were ranked in the top 25.
I don't
which is
remember.
huge.
Correct. I don't remember. I'll ask my brother.
So they were
But anyways,
but they were projected to be like just all stars, right?
Ridiculous.
I mean, on paper, everything lined up perfect.
And then what happened? They just couldn't get
They lost their
together.
first two games. Pettin made a dumb move by not making Kevin the
Oh
running back
yeah,
and making another
Pettin
guy
was
the running
still
back.
there.
And then Pettin
that
realized
was
that
Pettin's
Kevin needed
last
to be
year.
touch the ball every play. He was like, "Oh my god, this kid needs to touch the ball every play."
So wait, when we were juniors though, what? Oh, I thought that they did well when we were juniors.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Nah. Our senior year, we actually did half decent, which was
Yeah.
funny
Yeah, you did.
because I always say this. Zach Freiling and Brandon and
Yeah.
Pete didn't
And
even
Pete.
play football. Like people don't
Those
understand that about North
Stupid
Penn.
asshole coaches.
yeah, they
No,
made
it
him
wasn't that
choose.
necessarily.
That
But-
no,
Oh, that
they-
was it was
kind
for us. They told us flat out,
Yeah.
you either wrestle or you play football.
They-
Flat out.
dude.
Yeah.
Zach
100%
was
on the coaches.
dude,
100% on the coaches.
Yeah, Zach was the starting middle linebacker, right? As
His
a
sophomore year.
sophomore.
Fuck
I think it was
Zach.
outside. I
Brandon
don't
wanted to
remember,
kill
but he-
people.
Yeah. Oh, dude. And Brandon was a murderer, and Pete, dude, like Pete would have
Pete
been
would have
the
been a
starting
great
lineman.
lineman. Oh my
Oh.
god.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you had Zach who was starting as a
Monster.
sophomore. I remember watching. I was a sophomore too, right? And again, I'm like football. Like I can play football very well, but like in high school, it's like my older brother's doing what I would be, and he was way better. You know, it wasn't
Yeah.
even close. So I'm just like chilling. I'm hanging out on the team, and I remember I'm a sophomore. I'm like, man, these guys are killing it, you know. And Zach was playing. I remember seeing Zach get the ball, and literally just go like this,
Oh,
and just carry all these older kids for like
Yeah.
8 yards, and then they
Yeah.
can finally get
Beast.
him down. And I'm like, I'm like, when he's a senior, we're winning everything.
Dude.
But like, I was
Dude,
like,
they-
give
but,
me
like,
some Zach, dude.
they made
This is
him
He
crazy.
won
Huge.
everything, just not
Yeah.
in football.
But yeah, no. So Zach ended up wrestling. Brandon, ended
dude,
up
him and
wrestling. Pete ended
Yeager
up
were the
wrestling.
two starting linebackers. Like that's
Yeah.
fucking forget about it.
I
But
know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when we played Parkland, and which we went against Austin Scott, our
Yep.
senior year, he was
Super stud.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous. We
He
played
would
them
win,
in the,
when he win like Pennsylvania Player of the Year too. and
Yes,
all
he
that.
did. And he
Yeah.
went to the Big
He was-
33 game. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
He
he
was
ended up
ridiculous.
starting at Penn State, right?
Oh,
uh,
hold on.
playing.
Your
he
senior
should
year.
have, but
Your senior year, Kevin Akins won PA Player of the fucking.
He
state,
was the
not-
year after us. He was the year after us.
Oh, you're right. You're right. He was.
Yeah.
You're right. He's Tommy's
Yeah.
year.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah. Shout out Fourth
And
Street guy.
easy.
End up. So either way, let's keep it going. So me and Steve, when we were wrestling, there's this other school we've talked about called Upper Perk, and
They suck.
there was these two brothers that wrestled there, right?
headlock.
Correct. Right?
Yeah, that's right, Bart.
I don't want to
I know.
shout out. Don't say their names, Steve, because I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I hear
talk about some other things. But
No problem.
there was the older brother who broke all these records, who was like superstar.
Pin me.
Superstar. He pinned everybody.
He
apparently.
pinned me. He pinned Brandon.
Zach.
He pinned Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pinned
All of us got pinned.
he pins everybody, like, but he would break the state record for pins, right? Like, he was just a star, right? And he had a younger brother who was a year younger than him that was very good. He was a good wrestler too, really good athlete, but I feel like he was more of the partier, we'll say. Like, I would me and him
For
would
sure.
yeah, I'd partied with him a couple times.
The
He
kid was the
liked-
man.
He liked to part, and his brother, yeah. Oh, dude, I loved the younger brother. He was fucking great, right? And yeah, shout out, big fan of the show, listen to the show. But
Love the kid.
But the older brother kind of, like, I feel like, took it more seriously. But I think the younger brother kind of had the complex of like always being the star's younger brother and like living in the shadow and being like, fuck this, I'm just gonna do whatever, because like I don't want to take it that seriously, because I'll never be compared, like, because I'm always compared to this and it's an unattainable goal kind of thing. So did you ever have that in your mind, Eric, where it's like you do have this older brother who has like, has these accomplishments and he's doing these things and, getting recruited by Lehigh and stuff like that? Did you have it in your mind of like, fuck that, I'm going to go a different route and concentrate on this and do this kind of thing and party and all that stuff?
I can literally no. I was just so happy for Kevin. Like, I just knew Kevin was a different like type of person in some sports regards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I was just super happy. I was like, yo, it's my brother. This is great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hell yeah.
like, I never felt like there wasn't really much of a comparison to me and Kevin. We had two different like things going on when we were younger. In certain ways. Like, Kevin was very like focused, like he kind of like had this vision about like where he was gonna go, what he was gonna do. I was lost, like completely lost. So I never felt like anyone would ever, like, only an idiot would have compared us, because he was very focused and he kind of had the direction that he was going.
Did you ever compare your guy, you guys in your, like, you never had that like thought in your mind at all?
No. I never really compared myself to him. I just knew both of us were super fast. And like, if we wanted to, we could focus and try to take over a sport, like
Yeah.
I knew
So-
that we both had that, but
Yeah.
To at least say this from the neighborhood, I know J-Dub probably, feels the same way. I have obviously a lot of experience with Bark's older brother. He's one of my best friends, right?
Yeah.
Seeing Bark grow up real tight with his family. Him and his brother are so stupid athletic that they didn't
Yeah.
even compare each other to each other, because
Yeah.
I still make the argument here and there that I always tell people Bark's the most athletic Zebluim. So like, I think, there was never like a comparison
look
about
at
their
that.
freak athleticism.
Look at that.
And remember, Kevin's he's like one of my best friends on this planet. And I'm still saying to people, Bark was probably the best athlete out of the Zebluims. Bark had some freak
Bark could
athleticism
leap.
for a small white
Yeah,
guy. Oh,
he
the
could
jumping
leap,
ability
and he
is
was
fucking
so good.
ridiculous.
I do
Kevin was
remember,
like,
Eric, you were sorry, go ahead, Justin.
no, I was like, Kevin was gigantic. I could still picture
Yeah,
with that. Like
Kevin's a big guy.
He would have the shoulder pads with the plate hanging. I remember,
Yeah,
like,
Kevin's a big dude.
It was like the ninth graders dress, and so your brother would have been a senior that year, and we're on the same field, sitting next to each other, and I'm like, I'm not a football player. And I'm like, this dude is fucking huge. Look at him. He's got the plate swinging. I'm like,
Yep.
I should just stop playing this.
I remember like other guys on the football team, like in my classes, would talk about like, yeah, I'm like trying to get by, like running and doing the cardio. And then I see just Kevin Zebluim running up the stadium stairs, like, like flying up and flying down, and everyone else is like walking and
Now remember, this wasn't by chance or luck. I don't know if you went through the backstory because I jumped in late, but Bark's father was a very athletic human being, big, well-built man, right?
Yeah.
And his mom is stupid athletic with gymnastics, which we both know as wrestlers. One of the most important skills in life you can have in the beginning of an early development of a child is be able to put them in something, whether it's anything that has to do with balance and your ability to learn your body. Whether I say gymnastics at first, and of course wrestling helps or anything like that.
Yeah.
But his mom being balls deep in gymnastics. I mean, she's a fantastic gymnastics coach. Not to make that reference. That's terrible. I love your mother. How dare I say that? But his mom would have been like his mom has like a
you
master's.
Could have used any other metaphor.
You're right. Now again, everyone.
My mom knows Steve, so it's okay.
All right.
His mother is like, if they went through degrees or whatever, she's the Lindley Kistler for me and you of gymnastics. Like she knows her shit with gymnastics. So I guarantee when him and Kevin were little, which you probably don't even remember as a child, she already had them doing flips and runs and jumps. Like that's the way. That's the stock or the people who generated these freak athletes.
Yeah. So are you okay to
Dad had genetics, mom had the thing.
Are you okay to talk about that, Eric? Your dad at all, or?
Yeah, like what specifically? Like my childhood stuff or what?
Well, you had mentioned before on the show that you had moved around several times and that your dad went upstate and everything like that. So, like, are you okay to talk about that kind of stuff? Like why he left and how that was? So like and we had brought it up on the, the Roundtable series, episode 1, End Up Saga part 1, or maybe no, it might've been the Roundtable series, episode 2, End Up Saga part 2, where I talked about how like when your parent, like when one parent isn't there, your siblings come together type of thing, and you become more reliant on your siblings and stuff like that. So like your dad went upstate when you were young, right? And then you would like move around a couple times. Is he still up there? Like what's his deal now?
No, he passed away.
All right.
He passed away. Yeah.
Okay. Would he get out before? Like, are you allowed to say why he went up there?
I mean, I could speculate why. I mean, but he was involved with some stuff,
right?
And he just got jammed up. You know what I mean? So so when we were younger, he went upstate, and I mean, we were kids. We were pretty young, so we didn't. It was just like, oh, this sucks. We loved our dad. Like we had a good relationship with him. He was great. He was awesome. But we just were kids, so we like kids just go. Like they're just like, okay, what's next? So we moved to my grandmom's house in North Wales. My mom had 4 kids. My dad was out of the picture, and my mom's like, I teach gymnastics. Like, what am I gonna do with these 4 kids? And like, we were pretty wild kids, some of us.
Dude.
I mean, people say we were sweet,
fantastic for people and doesn't get the recognition or the pay it should. What she does for kids, but whatever.
How old? So how old is your sister's the oldest, right? How many years older than you is she?
3.
So and how much younger is your little brother?
3.
So holy shit. So your mom had 4 kids, 6 years old and younger. 4 kids between the ages like 4 kids 6 and under.
Yeah.
Holy
I mean, like at the time I would have been like, well, I would have been probably like 6.
Well, either way,
my younger brother would have been 3, Kevin would have been 7, and my sister would have been 9.
Yeah.
So 9, 7, 6, and 3. Yeah.
Still, yeah. So 4 kids, 9, like 4 kids under the age of 9, your husband goes away, you're by yourself, you have to move into your grandmom's house. That's a fucking tough ask, man. That's a tough fucking ask. So shout out to your mom. That's a strong fucking
hell
woman.
yeah.
She's
that dude. You're about to find out because you have some kids coming, Eric. That shit, I wouldn't, dude. You couldn't fucking pay me to have 4 kids under the age of 6. You couldn't. I don't care. Fucking, you could give me $1 billion and I'd say no. I fucking
well, hey Matt, here I got some shitty news. I kind of know who you are, and I think your wife's Albanian, or I know, and I'm pretty sure they like big families.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah. It's
Talking
it's
about-
out. I mean, that decision is out of my control. You are correct there. I have no control over that decision. No, none whatsoever. But I have a buddy, friend of the show, former guest of the show, Ron Scott Lesky. He had 3 kids in 16 months because he had twins and then another kid. So 3 kids within 16 months, bro. He went from being like the nicest, happiest, jovialist, like, best mood guy, most positive guy there is, to like fuck the world. That's his life right now. Fuck the world, fuck it big time. But
I have twins on the way, man. Don't tell me
That's
that.
wild.
dude,
Yeah,
if I start acting out of character, you guys can call me on it.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. It's not the lack of sleep. It's not like the cleaning shit and all that kind of stuff, because it is what it is, right? It's your significant other that you have to watch out for, because that's the most struggle you're gonna have. Like, because eventually the kids, there's like a kind of a thing, like it's just shit you have to do. Like you just have to deal with shit, and they're gonna cry and they're gonna yell and they're gonna throw up and all this stuff, and it's gonna be tough for a couple months. You're gonna have to take shifts, and having 2 of them is gonna suck. I will say that, because that's a lot. But because there's no like taking turns, right? You're always on the clock. But your significant other is gonna attempt to kill you at some point. Just telling you.
It's fine.
Just forewarning.
I've already experienced this.
says the guy whose wife comes from like a fucking the Balkans, where there's been some real shit. Yeah, I bet, Matt. All right. Some people's wives haven't come from a very, very hard area of the world.
Yeah, my wife, I mean, she used to love me. Then we had a kid. Now it's like, who's this fucking moron that I married? Huh? Who fucking signed
Doing
this contract?
podcast shit.
Oh, dude, don't even. If you want to get fucking stabbed, talk to her about the podcast. Let me fucking tell you. All right, hold on.
Yeah, look at that. Don't stop recording now, Matt.
Yep.
There
he goes.
Where'd
He's talking about stab. She heard him from the door
my
outside.
He's in a triangle hold right now.
That's crazy.
She got him in a Kamara.
She got him pulled backwards like Shevchenko.
Got him in a Kamara. Got him in a wizard.
Yeah, hell yeah. Oh, in the Balkans, they wrestle. The Balkans wrestle.
They hit you with olive branches while you do it.
You talking about Morocco, Albania, Serbia, all that shit? Oh yeah, Kosovo.
I worked with the girl from Kosovo at Whole Foods.
Really?
Yeah.
And we were talking about conspiracy.
That borders Albania, Kosovo.
We were talking about like conspiracy theories and stuff at the lunch thing, and people were like saying stuff, and I was like saying stuff,
how that happened.
and all of a sudden, and then she was like, she told us how she's like, I'm from Kosovo. Like, I watched a civil uprising in my country.
Yes.
And had to flee Kosovo to get to America.
A lot of
and
that.
she like points at me. She's like,
that.
what he's saying is true. She's like, you guys are all idiots. She's like, this guy's actually making sense. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that girl.
Kosovo touches Albania. It's as close as it gets.
Yeah.
They're bordered.
Yeah.
They border each other.
A lot of the Kosovo refugees would go to Albania. Yeah.
Wait. So I know that the dominant religion, like 70% of Albania is Muslim. There's only like 20% Christianity. Is she Muslim or Christian?
She's both. She doesn't really have a dominant religion. The way it is there is like, it's Ottoman Empire, like Turkish Muslim.
Yes. So most of it is Islam.
And Greek Orthodox, right? So like Greek Orthodox Christian.
20% Greek Orthodox Christianity, but mostly Islam.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, but no, her dad is Greek Orthodox and her mom is like Islam. But honestly, like they aren't super heavy into it, and it's more.
Did her mom wear like a burqa and shit and all that gear or no?
No,
okay,
they didn't. Yeah, they're not that into it. But it's like it's more like I would say the Albania as a whole, the culture is its own religion. Of like the culture has like all these different like eccentricities and like things like that they do that make them very unique. So it's the culture itself is its own religion. Like before you're a Muslim or before you're Greek Orthodox, you're Albanian first.
Right.
So that's
when
how
a, when
they
a
see it.
country's old enough that people constantly tried to conquer it, they start to believe in their own people. I don't care what the dominant dickhead is. We
Yeah.
still ride with each other.
Right. Agreed. And
That's
it's
like
literally a
Northwest.
country that was like brought down to zero and had to build itself back up. So, and it's an incredible country. It sucks like because they were owned by a Western power, because they were communist and ran by Russia, they became like
Great wrestlers.
Really good wrestlers, but they became
I know that.
they became like you know, in Eastern like satires, they would be villainized because they were under the communist regime, when in real life, yeah, there's some crime and things like that, but it's really like one of the most respectable cultures that there is. And honestly, if you do find a woman from there, it's like you're a very, like any person from there, just they're very morally sound. But then they also have like their gypsies and their villagers and things like that. So there's bad places everywhere. So sorry, yeah, let's keep it going. So okay, so you're in high school, right? You're doing your thing. You had started to work, right? Your stepdad, right, had a landscaping business. So you would kind of like do side jobs for him, like in middle school and even earlier than that, right? Is that how it went?
Yeah. So my stepdad was a landscape architect.
Shout out Harry.
Yeah, shout out to Harry.
Does he still
Um,
landscape?
No, he doesn't
Oh.
anymore.
Okay.
He's older now.
Yeah,
Alright.
he's older. But yeah, no, so he was a landscape architect for, I think that's what his like position was, for Toll Brothers. So if people are familiar with Bluebell Country Club, before Bluebell Country Club was Bluebell Country Club, when I was a kid, you know, maybe in my like early teens, 12, 13, stuff like that. And there was other communities as well up towards like Audubon and Oaks and stuff. There were these Toll Brothers communities getting built. And, you know, he might take me, you know, I might pack a lunch or something like that. And he would take, you know, maybe me and Kevin or just one of us out to work. And he basically put spray paint. He was spray paint an area and leave us with like a pick and like a shovel. Like, all right, I'll be back in a few hours. Just dig this hole out, and then you know, or there might be a couple of them, and then he'd come back with trees, and then we would roll the trees in and undo them and stuff like that. But it was really cool. I mean, and the reason why it was great is because it like that job and a couple of other ones that I experienced at a young age really gave me a strong work ethic, like working side by side with like a grown man doing labor at a young age. All throughout my work career, my work ethic has never been a question. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, when you're working with men, you got to learn real quick, because they don't like if you're being a lazy piece of shit, they let you know, justifiably so. That's kind of thing we were talking about earlier when we were talking about football. Like, if you need to hold up your end, you need to fucking stand up and like you need to do what's required of you. You need to not be like a fucking noodle. You got to be a man about shit, and they let you know. That's great. No, plus two, dude, that's a fucking job. How did you feel like, you know, like your dad's out of the picture at this time? You have this new stepdad here, right? Like like him as a male role model, how was it like working with him and things like that? Did you guys get along?
Early on, like when up to like the age of 12, we got along for sure.
So yeah, so go ahead. Like, how is it with your dad's out of the picture?
Harry.
You have this new stepdad, Harry, and you're working with him. How is him like dealing with how was it dealing with a new like male role model and things like that?
So no one would ever replace my dad. My dad was an extremely rare character, you know, and he was just one of a kind. Of course, I'm biased, it's my dad, but truly, you know, and there's never gonna be anything that could replace that fatherly love and that relationship that we had. So when my mom's stepdad Harry came into the picture, again, we're just kids, so we're kind of just like, all right, like seems like a nice guy, but like we don't know how this works. Like we didn't know, and I don't think my mom or Harry really knew. You know, we're all sitting there trying to navigate it together. But it was cool. It like when we were in Hatfield, so from like the age of like 3rd grade to 6th grade, Harry coached a lot of my he coached all my baseball teams.
Oh,
So
all
it was
right.
cool because me and Harry, like, you go into Hatfield Little League, the competition's real.
Yeah.
And we're
Hell
like
yeah.
drafting, we're like, we got to get this person, we got to get that person.
Hell yeah.
And then we also won the championship. Like when we were our final year in majors, when we were
Dude.
12, we won the championship.
Hell yeah.
And we had to take out all the all-stars, so it's like Dan Jaycox, Tim Durstein, Pat McCoy.
Hell
I remember
yeah.
going up. I remember Tim's team was great. I think we played Tim in the championship. If I remember correctly, I think it was Tim's team. I think Jaycox was on the black team, or maybe that was Pat. I forget. But it was fun, you know what I mean? And we had that little bond of him coaching me in baseball. And the cool thing is now he has a son with another woman, not my mom. And
they would
and
get
I was
separated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
they
not a
eventually
swinger. They
separated.
separated.
yeah, and then so he had a son with another woman now, and Dalton, who's I think he's probably about 12 now.
Sweet name.
I was able
Right.
to go and help coach him a little bit pitching because my dad taught me how to throw a curveball, and that was the one thing I was absolutely lights out famous for. I had the nastiest curveball to ever exist in any little league team in the world. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's a guarantee. and
throwing off speed in little league. Look at you.
Dude, what? No, Hatfield. We weren't joking around, dog.
Yeah,
for real. And but yeah, so I was able to teach Dalton the same curveball, and he could throw it. Not as good as I can, but he could throw a curveball.
I mean, who can though?
It's really cool.
Right. Dude, that's great, man. That's awesome. Shout out to your stepdad, because I'll tell you this. Fucking, I don't care how awesome your mom is. I'm not signing a contract with 4 kids in the deal. Tell you that, right?
Yeah, it was pretty. I mean, it is something like as I got older and I matured, and by matured I mean like late 20s.
Yeah.
Looking
back on it,
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there was always that underlying respect for just no matter which way life went. There was just the fact that he stepped up and took care of us.
He did. Hey, dude, that's another man thing. You know what I mean? Like he stepped up and did what a man does. That's absolutely shout out to him.
They say men raise their children. Men's men raise other men's children. So it's a hard thing to step in and raise some other guy's kid and act like you love him and treat them right and do the right thing. So the men of men can raise.
So no matter what I do for the boys, I have to go find some other kids to take care of.
Yeah, like if you really want
to be a real man,
if you really want your sons raised right,
just walk into some stranger's house and start
talking
about life.
Is this your fucking kid? I'll teach him to be an athlete.
Hey, you want to switch? I'll take your kid. You take mine. We'll fucking do that. Yeah, no, J-Dub, you were in a similar situation where
I'm a full product of it. So my father adopted me at 1, but then they didn't tell me till I was 11, and then I had a stepfather, and my stepfather's the man, and my stepfather and Bark's father were like best friends and neighbors back in the day. Long before I ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You said that, Billick.
I think they went to high school together, and I forget where the point I was going with this. Yeah, but I've had numerous fathers. Yes.
Right.
Did you ever do this thing? My dad was out of the picture for me for a while, and there would be like everywhere I would work, like I would try and find like kind of like an older like kind of guy that I would like kind of latch on to and be like a pseudo father figure.
So the neighbor he owned the Hearth Baker, and he used to like when my dad moved out, like he like looked after us, and like if we got in trouble, we'd have to go work with him, and he worked
Gangster.
4 o'clock in the morning, so like it was a nightmare. And then like throughout there,
that's a great community though. Like that's fucking awesome to hear that. Like
that's North Wales, motherfucker.
Yeah. But to have like a neighbor to know like, hey, this fucking poor lady, like she's got these fucking crazy ass kids.
Yeah, we were nuts.
One of them's got fucking fire bright orange red hair.
Just lighting shit on fire.
Yeah.
He lit the water authority on fire. Like the irony of it, they were like lighting chairs on fire one night, and it happened to catch the water authority on fire.
That story is available on the Roundtable series, episode 3, the End Up Saga, part 3, the Next Generation.
And hold on, let me interject. So I'm gonna we're at a perfect bridge for me to throw this into Bark's story.
Yeah.
So Bark, when his mother started or was married to Harry or whatever,
she was balls deep in being married to Harry.
Now that was disrespectful, and I'll fight you when I see you. Mine was genuine. Yours was fucking making fun of the situation. How dare you?
You set it up. What are you gonna do?
Anyway, when they moved into a certain house, but no one had any idea of in North Wales, right? Now, Bart, please explain the home on Montgomery Avenue in North Wales that you grew up in. Why it then all of a sudden, after you moved out, became famous?
Oh,
because I lived there. No, I'm joking.
nah. Yeah, your older brother lived there, right? Didn't he? The football
there are
player?
some
No.
stories. There are some.
The most
stories to
athletic
that house.
fucks from North Wales live there.
Yeah, yeah.
No, so that it was funny actually. We moved into that house, and it was that house is part of the historical society for Pennsylvania Historical Society.
Oh shit.
There was an artist by the name of William T. Trago that used to live there. And he was like I think he did. So you know when you open up your
blind,
social
right?
studies books, I don't know if he was blind.
Or
I
had
don't
something
know, I
wrong with
don't
his hands or some shit.
All
I
right,
don't know.
but either way,
But
so he's
if
he's
you open
done
up your social studies book and you see this like wartime reenactment painting or something of the Civil War, like that's the stuff that he used to
oh no shit.
and he was like, yeah, apparently it was like this famous artist.
Old Billy Trago, huh?
Oh yeah, Billy Trago. Yep. Yeah, no, so that was where he used to live or something like that. And it's actually funny because after we had moved out and stuff like that, Liam lived in a house across the street. And we might have still even been there. I don't even remember when this happened.
Wait.
But I remember
the house across the street that
East Montgomery Avenue.
Wait, the one he lived in with Shorty and them where the water broke?
I think so.
Oh,
it was like
right.
it was
I've been
on
to that
East
house.
Montgomery Avenue. Yeah, one block off of North.
Yeah, he lived in the attic, right?
I believe so. Yes, I think that's
Yeah.
that's
Him and I think Munley and Nick Law and Heather and all them live there. Sorry. So
right. So one time Liam was there and he hits me up. He's like, he's like, Bart, there's some kind of like cannon going off out front of your house. So they had like people dressed up. Like, I guess they were doing like a celebration because they put the blue, if you ever see
they put the blue historical marker in that
like
shit.
Sign, like out front of like a historical building, they have like the thing, they do like an entire ceremony.
Yeah.
Like the drawing you see
Liam,
at City Hall is in North Wales.
Yeah.
Crib.
Liam's like, they're like shooting a cannon off and doing some kind of parade out front of your old house.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Bro. Damn, bro. That's fucking, I mean, that's pretty badass.
How many times I was smoking weed out the back window of the crib or something, and apparently some famous painters out back, and it was either one of two things. You can look it up. I know I always fucking spit facts that are not true, and I act like they are, but it's like, I think he was either blind or didn't have use of his hands or whatever the fuck it was. He had a disability, and that's why he was so famous, because his paintings are fucking ridiculous. And the dude, like, something was wrong with the dude. I think it was either blind or his hands didn't work right. He like fucking taped it to his nose. I don't fucking know.
All right. I'm trying to look.
Are we looking? He said, "Cut that."
But the houses in North Wales are mad old. I remember, I forget how old I was. I was like 7. My mom found out all of the doorknobs in our houses were ivory. Like for the attic, the bedrooms, they were all white ivory doorknobs, and she like took them all off, collected them one day, and they disappeared. Mom Duke sold them ivory doorknobs, yo.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Respect.
We also probably had lead-based paint too.
Damn. All right. So okay, I'm trying to find this guy. All right.
William Trago.
Oh.
Tregggo.
All right,
Yeah,
I got it.
T-R-E-G-O.
So William B.T. Trago.
What was his fucking disability?
All right. So William B.T. Trago, born in Yardley, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, 1858, the son of artist Jonathan Kirkbridge Trago and Emily Roberts Nee Thomas. At the age of 2, William's hands and feet became nearly paralyzed, either from polio or from a doctor administering a dose of merciless chloride, also known as calomel. Trago's family,
he like fucking taped it to his face or some shit.
Yeah, Trago's family moved to Detroit, 1874. William was enrolled in a local school, but an incident where 16-year-old William burned off all of his hair with a gas jet made his father decide to teach William in his studio and then move on. Despite his crippled hands, young William showed an aptitude for art, learning to paint with a brush jammed in his right hand while he guided it with his left. William Trago first received public attention with his exhibition painting titled blah, 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 1879, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. His depiction of George Armstrong's Custer's Charge at the third
Custer's
Battle
Charge
of Winchester was described by the Cleveland Press as one of the best historical paintings of the kind that has ever been produced by an American artist.
Mm.
All
He
right.
also, so when he moved to
Respect.
Detroit, the other thing about him is a fascinating fact. So when he moved to Detroit and they were talking about they had the paintbrush jammed in his hand like that, he's actually Eminem's grandfather, and Eminem had the microphone jammed in his hand when he was younger.
Wait. Trago's his grandfather?
No.
Oh. All right. I fucked up.
Complete bullshit.
No, he's just a painter.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, you got to sell that better because I don't know when you're fucking around.
Yeah, you were
or when
so
you're
into it, Matt.
I was like, shit, that's crazy.
Yeah,
They
I was
are
like,
very-
no, that's
He
not-
clicked on another link on the Wikipedia. He's like,
No.
oh, backstory.
But either way,
Crazy.
it says that he was born in Yardley in 1858 and died in North Wales, Pennsylvania, June 24th, 1909.
I think he killed himself. I
That's
think he
where
killed himself.
legends die. You heard me?
If
Matt,
he-
I think he actually killed himself. I think he committed
so if
suicide.
he killed himself, then you lived in the house where he probably fucking killed himself. Then
Now
it
that
was probably in
also-
our studio out back.
No, that also I don't know. I feel like for some reason I don't think he did it there, but that could have been like parents trying to discourage kids from understanding that someone, a famous guy, killed himself in the house. But I honestly think he didn't. I don't think it was at the house or something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
All right, nice.
Shout out William Trago.
Yeah,
Hell
shout
yeah.
out.
Shout
fan,
out Willie Treggs.
fan of the show, listener of the show. So
Whatever.
From heaven, but whatever.
I mean, either way. So okay, so let's get back into it. So all right. So you're doing the landscaping stuff, right? And that was kind of like a side job you did with your stepdad. Then
Yeah.
you would get a job working at McDonald's on Main Street, and you would work there with a fan of the show and hopefully sometime guest of the show, N-Dub legend Tribby, aka Travis.
Scary.
So you would work there at him. How did that go? Working at McDonald's with one of your best buds as a teenager just sounds like a fucking hoot. A hoot.
It was crazy. And I think so. I'm pretty sure Brandon worked there. I think Liam might have worked there at one point. Andrew Mitchell, I think, worked there. I think all of us at one point kind of worked there. But I remember distinctly working there with Travis. And it was crazy, dude. Like, I don't know how young we were, but I feel like there's no way we were 16 yet. I feel like we were probably middle school, like maybe 13, 14, 15. But I just remember there was this guy, this like older, like slob of a human that was our man. And like he would just crush cigarettes in the back the whole time. Like I would go into
In
work.
the restaurant?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, he was just burning cigs at that McDonald's on Main Street. That's now called like Mr. Suds or something.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
the
laundry
laundromat.
place. Yeah.
So
Because there was a rate there.
so we were
What? Was it really?
Yeah, that's why they shut down McDonald's on Main Street in the bathroom. Yeah, a girl got raped apparently in the bathroom. That's why they shut it down and it had.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Why are you saying
Yeah,
that
I know.
on the
Landfill's
show?
a shitty
What the
place.
fuck?
Yo, Clark,
Oh
go
my
back to your
God.
story.
All right.
how can
so
I, dude? You're traumatized.
Eric got raped in the bathroom at McDonald's. No. kidding. The fucking joke. Sorry. So either
Don't
way.
joke about rape, you fucking loser. Cancel this guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, faggot. Really?
yeah, you don't want to talk about
Wow.
Yeah, you're
Hit
gonna
him-
cancel somebody over here.
hit him with
you
his own-
fucking old cancel Cabot. Steve, cancel me, Cabot.
Took a
All right,
weapon out of
used
his
to,
own arsenal and hit him.
Yeah.
with it.
So
Um,
okay.
But yeah.
So all right. So you're
So working
at
at McDonald's.
this guy's
right?
fucking crushing heaters.
Our manager, like this is how I remember it. Look, you could ask Trav, but I'm pretty sure this was how it was. I know one thing. I didn't cook. Trav cooked. So Trav's
Shout out your bit.
Trav's in the back doing all the cooking. I would drop fries, but then I have the headset on So I'm taking the orders on the window and I'm taking the orders on the front. And our manager would just sit in the back and just crush cigs and just like be back. there or
How,
whatever.
dude?
Like, I
How,
don't
like
even know
that
what he
place
did.
was bumping. How would you be able to do both? Like you must have been so just nonstop busy.
Trav's legit. And I was like, I was like, okay, a computer, and I'm just talking to people. Like I can do this, you know. And I don't think we ever got insanely busy, but like
Yeah.
it was pretty easy. And
Yeah.
yeah, so Trav would do all the cooking and stuff like that. But I remember it'd be like, so I remember it'd be like
He laughs before he says it. It's fantastic.
there's just a lot of weird things, like funny little things. Like I remember like crusty construction workers coming in, and they used to have like 39-cent hamburger days and stuff like that. But I remember trying to like wheel and deal with these guys where it'd be like, you know, let me get 40 burgers for my guys.
40?
Whatever. I don't know. They would buy a bunch
Yeah.
for like 39, 49 cents. And I think, you know, I remember turning to Trav like, yo, put on 40 burgers. Give me 20 bucks. Like, I don't know if I remember thinking it. I don't know if we did it or whatever. But the coolest thing was that when like we would work there, and it like taught me how to like have face-to-face interactions with like customers and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
but like when we would leave there, they used to have big extras. Big extras were so good. And like me and Trav would just load up one of the big like McDonald's bags with so many burgers and like like ridiculous amounts of McDonald's, like insanely unhealthy.
Did you ever steal? I had a buddy that worked coincidentally.
No one has ever stolen, Matt, but keep going.
Coincidentally, I'm gonna have to cut his name, but his name was, but he worked at McDonald's. Funny.
The guy who
right?
owns Wendy's?
So yeah, he worked at McDonald's, and he would steal the small, like during when they had the Monopoly game, right? Like McDonald's Monopoly, he would steal like hundreds of like just the packages for like the fries and stuff, because you would get them and he would sell them to people just to rip the tickets off of the package, because like sometimes the tickets would be like a free Big Mac or a free soda or fucking free nuggets or whatever it is, right? So he had like a bag just filled with these things.
Monopoly pieces,
dude. Like, do you remember? Right, like
but
the
only
Monopoly
thing is,
game.
did you see the documentary? That guy kind of fucked up because
dude,
the guy who was doing the things
Yeah.
already had it rigged like an asshole.
Oh, there was
the fucking winning tickets.
No, yeah, Boardwalk was impossible. Never gonna. Yeah, dude. I'll tell you this, dude. Back in the day, right? Like we would do fast, like McDonald's, like, you know, not a ton, but like it would be something like, all right, we're going home. My mom doesn't feel like cooking. We'll just get McDonald's, right? You know what I mean? Like it was just like a thing, like fast food. What, like, it was just like something you would do. It wasn't a big deal. But then that Super Size Me documentary came out where the dude just ate fast food only for like a month straight, and you saw what it did to him, right? That fucking cut that industry like down to like really like, and now like you look at the fast food, I mean, they've had to change their marketing, and I mean in some ways, but still, like, I don't know. I mean, Chick-fil-A, is that considered fast food? Because Chick-fil-A is just the fucking best thing ever.
it is, but it's great.
Yeah.
But it is the best.
Chick-fil-A is the greatest. The greatest.
Kevin and I crush fast food.
Really?
And then-
Still?
Yeah, it's like I've
Yes,
definitely
they're
had.
fucking absolute aliens. They eat fast food
I used
and
to
get
think,
they're
like,
just
jump through the
fucking,
ceiling.
like,
It's
yeah,
strange. I
yeah.
know.
There really must be some fucking like extra hormones in that meat or some
Same
shit.
thing with his brother.
you're,
These
like,
motherfuckers
superheroes.
eat McDonald's like it's a champ.
Do you really? Do you still eat like, because Eric, you're a lean guy, like you're in shape, you've always been in shape. Have you always been like just eating McDonald's and fast food all the time, like your whole life?
I've never eaten health. Like, so I can't say I've never eaten healthy, because there were definitely moments in my life where I made a conscious effort to eat like extremely healthy.
Right.
But in like middle school and high school, I was eating like a meal to me was like, I'm gonna eat 3 packs of Pop-Tarts and like 4 glasses of milk.
Bro.
Or like a box of cereal, or Chips Ahoy Chewy cookies. And like my mom would make dinner, and we'd have dinner and stuff like that. But like it wasn't uncommon for me to like destroy 2 bowls of ice cream, a bunch of Chips Ahoy. So at an early age, I got used to eating like that. And now I'm 36, about to be 37 in January.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold on a second. It catches up to you. you know, and it's just
Yeah.
not a healthy lifestyle. Like it's just not a good thing to be
Did you-
doing, no matter what you look like or how you are, anything. Like it's just
Yeah.
unhealthy, period. There's no,
Did
you know.
did you ever do the like two meals I would have would be shredded cheese, just eating shredded cheese out of the bag, right? Like that was the best. And then like do you know Tostitos chips, right?
yeah.
Like we wouldn't have salsa, but we would have like Ortega sauce or like the barbecue or whatever. So you would like dip it in that and eat it. You know what I mean? Like that was a meal too. You know what
We had, yeah, I 100% know what you mean.
Yeah.
We had a famous phrase that we still joke about. It was just search and find. So that was like that was a meal. That was like search and find.
Yeah.
So like I might just crush a box of Cheez-Its and drink some
Oh.
iced tea, you know?
Yo.
And like, you know, a cold hot dog, like right out of the pack, cold hot dog,
yo,
because I'm
Yeah.
busy.
yeah.
Because I'm so busy and I got to get to Manhunt or like
Yeah.
whatever dumb
Yeah, I
stuff
don't even
we're
have
doing
time
at
to
8th
cook
and
this
Church.
fucking hot dog, mom. All
Yeah,
right.
it's like whatever. Like honestly, I'm not even joking. Literally last night, I was eating dry ramen with the seasoning pack.
Yo.
And my wife looked at me, like,
bro.
I was doing it for like quite a few minutes. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." She's like, "Are you really like? Are you enjoying that right now? We just bought a house. We have a beautiful kitchen and everything." And I was just like, "Oh yeah, I don't know. Like I just am eating it." Because
Listen, I
was
thought even I enjoyed ramen, right? I wrestled, so I used to not be able to eat shit because I was always cutting weight. I allegedly, when I was in jail, in jail, that's a steak dinner.
Oh.
Ramen noodles is
Dude,
the truth.
You got to get your fucking Chi-Chi on lock, bro. You got to get out your bag and get your fucking Chi-Chi on lock. What are you going to do?
But
Check out my jacket, bitch. You don't know me. Fucking A. But yo,
I totally forgot to bring up Bark. Remember at football practice, you got poison ivy and then you spread it to like
in
all
high
over
school.
your in high
Save
school.
that.
And you
Yes.
spread it all
Unbelievable.
over your Crocs and you couldn't practice, yo. And the bull
Unbelievable.
was so mad, yo. I think it was Beck. Beck was so mad at you, yo.
Yeah, yo, it was so bad. And they were like telling me to practice. And then I was like,
They
yo.
were so
And then
mad.
eventually I was just like, yo, I'm not fucking doing this. I was like, I'm not fucking doing this shit. I was
With
like,
my dick's all fucking itchy, it's all red. They're
yo,
trying to
I
make you
was
do food,
so
yeah.
mad. They would always
Oh,
be like,
yeah.
they were like, come on, Zebluim, come on, Zebluim.
So
Started
okay.
with J-Dub. Started with
So
J-Dub.
J-Dub, you're saying Eric had contracted poison ivy, right? If you, I
Yeah, he
don't know,
showed
can
up
you
late and he
contract
had
it? Okay.
yeah, I guess he had it on his hands, but it had gotten to at this point. I mean, I found out later that it got into his crotch, but like I guess he showed up late, and so he tried to make him run. They try to make you run suicide, yo. And you're like, no, I have poison ivy, and he's like, oh, I don't care, like get out there. You're either running the suicide, you're not practicing. You're like, I have fucking poison ivy everywhere, yo. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah,
Bro.
so that was a nightmare. Yo, I had poison ivy for like a couple days, and I kept telling them, but it's like Kevin's an all-star. So they're always like, yo, come on, Zebluim, yeah, man, come on, get in here. And I'm like,
Your brother's doing this.
I'm like,
fucking yeah.
I'm like, yo, you don't understand. Like, when poison ivy happens with me, you know, I have a hard time getting rid of it. You know, it's really uncomfortable. Like, you know, I should be at home, like dipping my hands in bleach and calamine lotion.
Yeah.
So they're like, come on, man, and like, you know, it just progressed. It was horrible. I'm in football pads in the summer, like touching my like getting drills, like touching myself, sweating. So I had it literally all over my entire body. It was so uncomfortable. Eventually, I was just like, "Fuck this! Like, I'm not doing this shit." I was like, God, I can't do this. Like, physically, this is ridiculous. And honestly, that specific time when I had like poison ivy, I don't know if it's sumac, oak, whatever. I legitimately went home and just like took sandpaper and put my hands in like bleach. I was just pouring chemicals into a bowl and just dipping my hands in. I was like, something's got to kill this. There's no way this is okay to live like this. Like I could die.
God.
You know? It was crazy.
Bro, so wait, so you have the poison ivy on your hands, and assuming you
terrible spot.
Yeah, the worst. You're just getting it everywhere, right? Like it's everywhere. And so then you get it on your, and then you just start like hitting yourself with the calamines and the whatevers, and you're just like it's all over, right? Yeah. You probably would have to like, you know, fucking vaccinate your pads for football to get rid of this shit, right?
Well, football was crazy. I mean, for the most part, no one touched other people's pads, but I remember going and like having people like with my mouthpiece, my helmet. I'm like, yo, what are you doing?
Oh,
You know, like football was crazy like that. Like I would go to the locker room some days and like someone else would have my stuff, and I'm just like, yo, man, like, are we really gonna do this? Like, I really like my ear pads and this thing, you know.
yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that. I think I kept the same pads throughout the poison ivy thing, but it just eventually dissipated and ran its course. But it was
Right.
absolutely horrible. It was like prime. It might have been 2-a-days. I don't know, Justin. It's probably like summer.
Yeah,
camp.
it was the summer because you're like it's everywhere. Like leave me alone.
Hell yeah.
And you know how I got it? Of course, probably
From the
fishing with
spot.
Kevin.
Oh, we're back there.
Nah, probably fishing with Kevin. I don't know. It could have been a variety of things. I could have been
Right.
doing. I could have been doing landscaping, fishing
Right.
with Kevin.
And then you started fishing with your own pole, and that's how you got it down there, huh? Oh, baby.
No, I know how I got it.
Oh,
got it
oh.
everywhere. It was everywhere. There was no this. It was so crazy.
Yeesh.
Extremely uncomfortable situation to be in. So if you coach a football team and one of your guys has poison anything,
Yeah.
let them take a couple days off.
Yeah. Shout out Poison Ivy, fan of the show, listener of the show.
Fuck
So,
poison ivy.
all right. So nice. So we're coming to the top of time for part 1 of the Eric Zebluim experience. Strong or easy, before we get out of here, anything you want to say to the adoring public?
I don't know, man. It's cool. We're just getting into it.
Yep.
So I'm
See you
excited to
part 2.
continue into these stories. I
Yeah.
mean, we're just scratching the surface of a lot of things that happened to me in my life.
Scratching the
So,
surface, Poison Ivy.
Yeah, right. You like that? You like that? You like that? Yeah.
Strong
Um,
stem. Anything you want to say to the listeners before we get to EZ part 2?
Yeah. For anyone that gets this reference, because it's about to be Christmas. Yippee-ki-yo, motherfucker!
Isn't it Yippee Ki-Yay?
I don't know. It's one of
Yippee-ki-yo.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee Ki-Yo! I'm from fucking
Hey.
Philly.
Listen to me. I turned it into a Philadelphia thing. If
Yeah.
he was Rocky, that's how it would have been fucking said, all right?
It's
My-
gotta be. It's
my-
gotta be yippee ki ear.
My godson the other day was saying, he was like, dude, he's like, he's singing something like Santa. He's like, yo, yo, yo. You know what I mean? He's pretending he's Santa. He was saying, Merry Christmas, yo, yo, yo. I thought it was so fucking funny. Either way, Jalen Dub. Anything you got to say before we get out of here and do easy part 2?
No, I'm excited for part 2. I'm hyped.
All right.
Let's
Love
go.
it. All right. Well, this has been the Working Perspectives podcast. This is the Eric Zebluim episode part 1 of the Eric Zebluim series. You can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You can hang out with us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. And you can join us on the Twitter and the TikTok at Working P Pod. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. And for the love of God, get her off my back and just like and subscribe so my wife stops beating the shit out of me for doing the show. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Stick around for the ad read. Thanks. See ya. Do you have a message or a story inside of you that you've been waiting to tell? Have you always dreamed of writing a book but are intimidated by the complexities of the book publishing world? Perhaps you want to use a book to launch your public speaking or consulting career. If so, please reach out to Scott and Bell Publishing, located right here in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Scott and Bell Publishing handle all genres and authors with all experience levels. Scott & Bell Publishing gives authors 100% creative freedom and a higher royalty split. They can be found at www.skotbell.com. That's www.s as in Sam, K as in Kite, O as in October, T as in Tom, B as in Boy, E as in Edward, L as in Larry, L as in Larry.com. That's Scott and Bell Publishing, where the authors go.